Collisions. Most drivers encounter near-miss situations or actual collisions during their lives. List the immediate steps and the follow-up steps to take if a collision occurs. If a collision is about to occur, minimize the effects by changing speed or direction to lessen the impact, steering for something soft, such as bushes or an open field, avoiding trees and parked vehicles. Explain how to avoid or minimize head-on, side impact, and rear-end collisions. Head-on collision, one in which the front ends of two vehicles collide, produces the greatest force of impact of any collision. Serious injuries or death are more likely to occur in this type of collision than in any other. If you are threatened with a head-on collision, brake hard without locking the wheels. Blow the horn, flash the lights. Steer right towards the shoulder. What should you do if you believe that you cannot avoid a head-on collision? You are at greater risk for a rear-end collision in which the front of one vehicle hits the rear of another at an intersection. If you are threatened with a rear-end collision, tap your brakes as you are slowing. Look for an open front zone. If a collision is unavoidable, release your brakes just before the collision occurs. Brake immediately after the collision to avoid sliding into another traffic lane. These actions can help you avoid being hit from behind. Check your rearview mirror. Maintain a 3-second following distance. Stop so that you see the tires of the vehicle ahead. The driver of the white car might find it difficult to avoid being hit. What can the driver of the white car do to minimize the effects of a collision on the passengers? To avoid or lessen the effect of a side impact collision in which the front of one vehicle hits the side of another, brake or accelerate quickly. Blow the horn to alert the other driver. Change lanes or swerve into the space vacated by the entering vehicle. In case of emergency, many emergency response groups are encouraging cell phone users to enter information about who should be contacted in case of an emergency. Entering the letters ICE in case of emergency before the name of a family member or close friends in your cell phone directory can help paramedics or doctors contact family members right away in the event of a crash. If you do have a collision, if you collide with another vehicle, a pedestrian, or someone's property, you are legally required to follow specific procedures depending on your state's laws. Stop immediately. Failure to stop is a serious offense. Move your vehicle to the side of the road. Turn off the ignition. If you damage a parked vehicle even slightly, try to find the owner. If you cannot find the owner, write your name, address, and phone number on a piece of paper. Leave the note under a windshield wiper. Notify the police. If someone's injured, help them. Call 911 immediately. Never move an injured person unless there is danger of fire or another collision. Administer basic first aid for injuries such as severe bleeding or shock only if you have completed a certified first aid course. Prevent further damage. Use flares or reflectors to warn other traffic. Place them at least 100 feet ahead of and behind the collision site. If you have another person, you can have another person help by directing vehicles around the crash. You must call the police if anyone is injured or killed. Some states require you to call the police for any collision, even if there is no obvious injuries to anyone involved. Give the police accurate facts. Never argue about who was to blame and never admit blame. You need to give and get from other drivers involved in the collision. Names, addresses, driver's license numbers, license plate numbers, insurance company names, and addresses. Note the names and addresses of passengers, the positions in which they were sitting, and the extent of their injuries. Getting and giving this information is your responsibility. Each state requires drivers involved in a collision to file a written report if someone is killed or injured, or if property damage exceeds a set amount. Do you know the requirements in your state? You must also produce proof of insurance by showing a card that lists your current insurance coverage or a bond card. Notify your insurance agent immediately. How can you reduce the impact of a head-on collision, a side impact collision, a rear-end collision? What steps should you take immediately if you are involved in a collision?